outside today working with Tilly on her leash manners, and she's actually very good on leash. We've been practicing walking, and she really pays attention, which is helpful. The most important thing when you're walking with your dog is to keep them focused on you and not everything else around them, which is hard because that's a lot of stimulus they have to ignore. So, because we've been practicing the look command, look, Tilly, look, Tilly, look, yes. You want to reinforce that when you're outside because it's much harder when they have sights and sounds and smells to deal with. Tilly, look. Yes, good girl. So that gets her focused. Now, when you first start to go out for the walk, if she's a little bit excited and pulling more, you're going to just kind of get her synchronized with you. Come here, baby. Heel. And we're going to have her heel, which means basically come to my side. And we're going to kind of go in circles. Come here, baby. I want her over here to walk with me, not in her own direction. So I got to get her warmed up. That's a girl right there. Come here. This way. This way. No, this way. Come here. Follow the tree. Oh, no, over here. I want her on one side, and then if I need to switch sides, I can switch sides. But she needs to understand that I'm in charge of the walk, not her. So she needs, come here, to follow my lead. Come here. Tilly. Tilly, look. Follow the feet. Girl. Like that. Good girl, yes. Nice loose leash. You got to keep your hands nice and loose because that energy goes right down the leash. So the looser and more relaxed you are, the better she'll do. Come here. Tilly, look. Tilly, look. There's a car going by, so she's a little distracted. Tilly! Look! Come on, baby! Come on! Now! Come on! Good girl right there. Good girl. I always take treats with me on a walk, but she's not necessarily going to get the treats all the time. Just every now and then, it allows me to keep her focused. Good girl. Tilly, look! Yes! She glanced. Tilly, look. Look. Yes. Good girl. And she's just walking right with me. Now, of course, if we saw a dog or a squirrel or whatever, she'd get excited. Now, as soon as it goes taut like that, she's starting to pull a little bit, you're just going to go backwards a couple steps and get her reset with you. Good girl. Notice I don't yank her. If I started to yank, she would counter pull and go the other way. So I want her to, I'll give her a little tug, but I want her to kind of follow. Come on. That's it. She will learn better if she is making the movements on her own. Tilly, look. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Periodically give a little treat, and then we keep walking. Now, if I see ahead that there's a dog or a person or something that's going to get her all excited, good girl, that's a good girl. I'm going to anticipate she's going to get excited at a certain distance. So the closer you get, the more excited they're going to get. Heel. That's a girl. Good girl. Yes. So you want to start anticipating and preparing her as you approach whatever the distraction is. Leave it. Good girl. So there's a person way down the road, but she doesn't even see him yet. Tilly. So what I would do is as we get closer, I'd have her looking at me more. And I would shorten up that leash a little bit, not give her quite as much freedom. That's a girl. Look at me. And then let's say the person gets within 20 feet of me. Come here. Heel. I would stop. Actually, there's a dog barking over there. So if there's a noise or something that's going to distract her, I would stop and get her looking at me and put that treat right to her nose. Sit. Get her relax a little bit. Look at me. Good girl. Right here. Look at me. Good girl. Good girl. And then allow whatever it is to walk by us. Now, if I want to keep going and don't want to stop and do all that, I still have to get her looking at me. Look at me, look at me. And there's some kids coming on a bike. She doesn't like bikes very well, so this will be a good example. Come here. So we're gonna put some distance between her and the bicycles. Look at me. Sit. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Look at me. Leave it. Look at me. Look at me. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Because she really goes kind of ballistic when bicycles go past her, but you see how she kept it under control, because I never let her escalate to a point where she couldn't handle it. If they came by and I wasn't prepared and she escalated, at that point there's nothing I can do, because she's just going to tune me out. So that's why it's important to anticipate that ahead of time. Hello. In that case, she did okay. She didn't escalate too much. So she escalated a little bit when that kid went by on a bike, and she barked a little bit, but then she de-escalated pretty quickly, and that's the key, because once they're up there, if you keep them in that excited state, it's harder to bring them back down. So, but she did well. Good girl. All right, you want to start walking back? Go back, come on. All right, so we're headed back. Keep her focused on me. Look at me, baby. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. When I am walking with the dog, look, look. I'll keep my hand down here and there's a treat in it because they can smell it. And then they're basically being guided by my hand. Good girl. And she's walking nicely. Yes, and then periodically give that treat. Good girl. Now, I do allow dogs to sniff on a walk. Some trainers don't, but I think that's what dogs do. It's important to let them investigate. And as long as she's staying nice and loose, it's okay. Good girl. She had to go potty too. Good girl. Yes. But if she were to start pulling towards something, then that's when I do that coming back and healing, heel, good girl. All right. Had some cars go by, so I had to pause it a couple times. But she's walking very nicely. What a good girl. So her biggest issue is really just if she gets distracted by something. So if they stop and sniff, let them sniff for 3 to 5 seconds and then say, let's go. Come on, let's go. Good girl. There's about 5 different commands that I use on a walk. Let's go is one. This way is one, which is when I'm going to change direction. So I can warn her that I'm going to change direction. Heel, of course. Leave it. And sometimes I'll even, well, and look, of course. And sometimes I'll even add in a quick, and a slow, so that she knows to slow down or speed up to my pace. Good girl. So if I was going to go fast, I'd say quick. Come on, quick. Yes, good girl. And she adjusts to my pace. Good girl. And that is basically what I've been working on with her training this week on Leash. And she does very well. Okay.